And then how does it transition from that incident with Big Jake and not, doing the production deal with Death Row to you're working on this album with Crooked Eye, and what happens? Reggie contacts you, and says, hey?
Yeah, so at that time, C-Style and Daz started Dogg Pound Records, and Crooked Eye was going to be their first artist through Death Row.
Yeah.
And so they were like, yo, I had done most of the music, me and my buddy Jim Gedham, who was friends with Crooked Eye. He worked on the album as well. We recorded it all at my studio in Huntington Beach, and then we did it at a studio in Hollywood. So the album was pretty much ready to roll, dude. It was dope.
Yeah. And
so Reggie was like, yo, I want to arrange a meeting for you and C-Style to go meet Suge, because Suge was in prison.
Yeah.
That's when he was doing the 6 years for the Tupac incident.
Up in Mule Creek or whatever at the time, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Reggie ended up flying us up to Mule Creek, and me and C-Style went and had a meeting with Suge. That was kind of a trippy first meeting. You go into a prison to meet Suge Knight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember when we got there, he wanted hot wings. And we had the same shoe. We both had K-Swiss on. He's like, I like your shoes. Like, yeah, so it started off good, And we sat at a picnic table. He was like, look, I want you to be the next big producer of Death Row.
Okay.
I know about your stuff that you did earlier, all the stuff, the Crooked Eye stuff that you were doing, the Bone Thug stuff that you're doing. He goes, I don't want you working with all these. I want you to be a Death Row producer.
Okay. He's
like, I only fuck with people that's gonna sign. He's like, but I'm gonna blow you up. You're gonna be the biggest producer in the world. I'm gonna bring all the artists to you. And he's like, the first thing I want you to do is the Tupac songs for Till the End of Time.
Okay.
And the Dogg Pound 2002 record, I want you to go in and remix some beats and stuff on there.
Okay.
He's like, yo, I'm gonna give you $50,000 up front. You know what I mean? Just to let you know that I'm fucking with you while we're working on paperwork. And let's see how it goes. I'm like, shit, that sounds good, because at that time, on the West Coast, there was only a couple of labels that you could really put out gangster music. Like Warner Brothers, all those labels, they were putting out like bullshit music. Like, it wasn't like I liked real West Coast hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I loved it. And I remember those labels. I had production offers at those labels, a couple of them, especially Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up doing the deals. And when Suge, I'm like, dude, Suge, that's the West Coast. I did some stuff for Ruthless. I'm like, Death Row is like the next thing. He's like, I'm getting out. When I get out, we're gonna push this shit super hard. Crooked Eye is gonna be the biggest artist in the world. He's like, I promise you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I remember at that time, when we went back, had another meeting, and I told him, I also want my own label.
Okay.
In the future, this is my goal.
Yeah.
I want to bring Mexican artists and Hispanic artists that I'm working with also. I want them to be able to do songs through Death Row, through my company.
Yeah.
He's like, I fuck with that. He's like, we'll do that for sure. So that was kind of part of the deal as well. Okay. And then so I just started immediately, like that next week, I went in and started working on the Tupac stuff.
Yeah.
And shit came out, hit #1. So
was there any hesitation because Death Row kind of had, or they were starting to get a reputation for not putting out a lot of stuff? Was that anything you considered before you signed, or no?
I mean, first of all, like, I had different managers and stuff in the music game and stuff. Everybody's like, don't fuck with Suge. And I'm like, yeah, but what about these other labels? They're not really doing shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't want to deal with some A&R person, or like, somebody that worked under somebody that really doesn't have the fucking, they don't have no power.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with straight with the CEO. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Suge was like, yo, yeah, we haven't been putting out a lot of stuff because I'm in prison. You know what I mean? When I get out, it's on. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with it. I remember that night, I was like, look, I can still keep, I had the #1 record in the country with Bone Thugs right then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, I started to get, I was getting paid good for my beats and shit. Starting off at like 5,000. Some beats I got like 10, 12,000 for.
Damn.
Publishing checks were coming in, so I wasn't broke. I didn't have to sign.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, this is a big opportunity, man. And he's like, look, I'm gonna put you in any studio you want. Any equipment you need is gonna be there for you. I'm gonna book the studio for like a year or two for you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So he did that. So I was like, let's do it. So he put me in we did the Tupac stuff at Skip's Sailor studio. And I went in, did the songs. Then I had the meetings at Interscope and everything, and they approved. They're like, "Yo, this shit is fire."
Yeah.
You know? I worked with Crooked Eye and Jim Gedem on those, and my boy Monster from Booyah Tribe. I brought him in. That's another thing I told Suge. I said, "Look, I got the most gangster guitar player and bass player, and he's part of my production team. I want to bring him through." He's like, "Well, when I get out, I want to meet him."
Okay.
You know. So.
Yeah. So with the Tupac Until the End of Time project, how was the song selection done as far as knowing what songs you were going to remix or you were going to work on? Were you able to choose them? Or did they say these are the ones?
Pretty much. I went there and I don't know how many songs they played me. I remember they played me. I said, I don't want to hear any of the music. I just want to hear Tupac's vocals.
So just acapellas. Okay.
So he played me Happy Home and Why You Turn on Me. And right when I heard them both, I was like, dude, these songs are fucking dope. I was like, I immediately started just doing the drums for Happy Home. And Monster started working on guitar lick. And I started doing keys. And we did that song. And then Jim Gedem and Crooked came and we all wrote the chorus for Happy Home. We brought singers in to sing on it. Butch Smalls played percussion on it, and Hutch was there, engineering and, you know, whatever. He was kind of in charge, Hutch, at that time in the studio. So big shout out to Hutch.
Yeah.
You know? And then we did Why You Turn on Me, and I ended up writing the hook on that one as well. Why you want to turn on me? You never thought. And Crooked I wrote the other half, half of it. I'm a TH with the U-G. Like, you know, we brought in Yusuf to sing the chorus, and you know. Like I said, and then when they put it out, it went number one. Suge was stoked, and then I went in and started doing the Dogg Pound ones, you know, the remixes on all those. Yeah. Like I did 5 of them.
Okay.
So, and then after that, it was like, yo, I want you on. I had the whole album on Crooked. They were trying to negotiate, like, you know, on the album. Meantime, Suge got out. Yeah. So he shows up at the studio. He's like, yo, let's just start making a whole new album too. Okay. Because he wanted, you could tell he wanted to be a part of it. Yeah. He was like up all day and night doing music. He was out at the club. He was going to do promo stuff. He'd be back at the studio.
How involved was he when you guys were doing music? Like, is he? Because a lot of people, even Reggie, will say he's a marketing genius, but a lot of perspective from outside feel like when Dre left, that's when all the good decision making on music kind of left. Like Suge didn't really put anything out. This is what they're saying. This is not what I'm saying. No, I understand. You know, and they feel like that Dre was really the musical side of the success of Death Row. But, you know, I wanted to get your take on how involved Suge is in a studio atmosphere.
Well, so when I was there, I would be at the studio every day, and I'd take Monster with me, and like Butch would be there. So whatever artists we were working on, like Crooked Eye and I were in there like a lot. So we just started working on his album from scratch. Suge would come in, hang out, you know, he would bring some people through, some stuff, have some drinks, and he would bone out. We just kept working on the music. Then other artists were coming around. Spider Loc came through. I started, as soon as the artists would come in, he'd be like, Vegas, make a beat. You know what I mean? I want to hear how they sound. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's the real way people would audition to be on Death Row. Okay. So I just make the beat right there. Spider got on it. Same with Eastwood came through. Make a beat for Eastwood. He came through. So he ended up starting to do deals with some of these artists. Okay. And then also bringing known artists through, like Casey and JoJo come through, Ray J, Keisha Cole. Before Keisha Cole wasn't known yet. That was like when she was like 18 or something. Yeah. You know. Other artists like Left Eye, she ended up coming, and I made the beat right there for her. Okay. And like Spider and Eastwood and Crooked Eye were writing lyrics for her on the first song. And then we started to work on her project, just the two of us. And I remember Spider and her were going to do another song together as well. Okay.